All right, thank you so much for joining in today's session. The last class we started our discussion on the introduction to the Microsoft Defender for Office 365, where we learned about Office 365 specific terminologies, threads, and concepts. We define Defender for Office 365 as a cloud-based email filtering service that helps protect organization against unknown malware and viruses by providing a robust zero-day protection. Then we'll talk about some of the benefits around being an industry-leading protection email filtering system. Then talking about actionable insights, talked about automated response, as well as training and awareness. So which is actually this part, attack simulator is the last part we'll be actually be discussing in this series. Then we look into automate, investigate, and remediate using the acronym AIR. We'll talk about automating investigation and as well as remediation. Talk about automated investigation remediation, which helps us to run automated investigation processes in response to the well-known non-threats. And from there, we're able to look at other things around how to configure, protect, and detect. So in terms of configuring, protect, and detection, we look at some specific domains under the policy and rules, where we look at safe attachments, how Microsoft Defender for Office 365 safe attachments helps protect organization against unknown malware and viruses, right? From attachment, from there we're able to look at the safe attachment policies under our threat policies. And after that discussion, we also look at the safe link policy. And we look at the built-in policy, both for safe link and safe attachments, and also how we can create our own safe link and safe attachments. Now, it's very important that you note, I didn't mention this, but let me mention it today. It's very important that you know that before you can create safe link and safe attachments, you must have the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2, right? So if you have Microsoft 365, Office 365 E5, so you still have to get the add-on for it. So the only subscription that comes on with the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2 is actually the Microsoft 365 Defender E5, which actually has everything. I think from there we look at anti-phishing policy, right? We talk about anti-phishing policy, we checking emails, messages for indicator that the message might, be a phishing attempt, and we also look at the default policy. So I don't want us to jump too much. What I want us to do today is to basically look at some of these plates from there, because I know most of our work is actually around policies and rule, right? Talking about going through all those things, but it's very important that we know how what investigation is, what Threat Explorer is, and the likes, right? So it's very important that we actually know them. Now, under investigation, let me just quickly bring up something. In terms of our investigation, right, which we actually discussed extensively yesterday, we're saying that for email analysis in investigation for Microsoft Defender for Office 365, the automated investigation email analysis identifies email clusters using attributes from the original emails to query for emails sent and received by your organization. And during automated investigation of alerts, Microsoft Defender for Office 365 analyzes the original email for threats, and it also identifies other email messages that are related to the original emails and potentially part of an attack. And this analysis is important because email attack rarely consists of a single email. And in terms of analysis, the analysis is actually similar to how a security operation analyst we hunt for the related emails in Explorer or either advanced entry. And there are a lot of server queries that are used to identify matching email messages, because attackers typically morph the email parameters to avoid security detection. And the clustering analysis performed, right? It's checked to determine how to handle the email involved in this investigation. So majorly, what AI is doing is that investigations it ignores advanced and delivering items in which the SOC mailboxes and phishing simulator messages basically. So during the email clustering analysis, all clustering queries ignores the SecOps mailboxes and phishing simulation URLs that are identified advanced delivery policies. So anything that has to do with attack simulation training like this, that is actually treated as being a form of exemption in terms of analysis. So in terms of investigation, that's actually what that does. In case we have things that has been worked on for the air, we'll be able to see those data here. However, we currently do not have the data, but looking at this portal, we can filter these by time range, right? So if you want to filter this by maybe manual investigation, you have the option. You can check, okay, zap files or zap URLs or URL verdicts change. You have the option to actually select your filter based on what you want to see. Let me just select this and apply if it's going to bring up a data for me. So there is no data there. So the same thing goes for the time range also. So any of the filter you select, everything is actually here together. So if you need to select everything and check if there is any automated investigation happened so far, you'll be able to see it here. So this capability is actually one of the Defender for Microsoft Defender for Office 365 P2, one of the capabilities. So that's actually what investigation is majorly about, right? So again, we discussed the overall flow of the investigation yesterday. We'll talk about the automated investigation, which is initiated either by an email alert, and from there, while an automated investigation run, it gathers data about the emails in question and entities that are related to that email. For example, it could be a file, it could be URL, or it could even be a recipient, right? And the investigation scope can increase as new and related alerts. Then during and after an automated investigation, so there's a detailed result that is available to view, and the results might include recommended action that can be taken to respond to and remediate any existing threats that were found. And the security operation team reviewed the investigation results and recommendation, and they approve or reject remediation actions. Then as pending remediations actions are approved or rejected, the automated investigation is actually completed. So that the process is actually quite straightforward, especially looking at the high level overview. Now, again, for for permission to use a capability, right, you need to actually be either be assigned a defender, a security role. It's one of the role that you must actually have in terms of defender portal, then either organization management as well. So, and also you can be either in a membership of organization management, security administrator, security operator, or security reader, or a global reader. So apart from being a global admin at the tenants. Then for membership in the role group for search and purge as well. So the role is actually assigned by default to data investigation and also organization management. So there are different permissions that are actually needed for you to actually have access, right, to these features. And also, more importantly, the Defender for Fisheries Fire plant Plan 2 license must be assigned either to the security administrator or the global administrator, and your organization security operations teams also need that license. Then also the end users as well, they also need that license before you'll be able to use this feature of investigation investigation, which is the automatic investigation and response majorly. So like I was checking a project tenant earlier today. I noticed as though the tenant has a Microsoft 365 E3, right, subscription. When I checked this portal, it was bringing out something to try to actually activate the trial for 90 days. So actually, if you don't have those prerequisite license, which is Defender for Office 365 Plan 2, you have the option to actually try it out for 90 days. I mean, within 90 days, you're able to, gather to be sure that this particular feature, the organization actually needs it, basically. So that's the summary of what we did in the last class around investigation. Now let's move to Threat Explorer. Now, organizations with Microsoft Defender for Office 365, right? They have included in their subscriptions, or either they've purchased an add-on that have Explorer. So for Explorer, we can call this Explorer just Explorer. You can also call it Threat Explorer. Then another name for it is real-time detection. So is that what currently here it is shown as Threat Explorer, right? But you can also call it Explorer or real-time detection. Although between Threat Explorer and real-time detection, there's actually difference between the two. Let me show you. Now, currently in the emails and collaboration here, we have the Explorer, as part of the blade under the emails and collaboration. But in the case of real-time detection, right? For real-time detection, there's no blade for it here. But it will only show if this blade of Explorer is showing as Explorer for me because my subscription has Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2. If an organization has Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1, then this is going to show like as a real-time detection. Now, since I have a subscription on the tenant that is actually higher than the subscription that comes with the tenant, if I need to access real-time detection, there's a URL actually for it. So it's almost the same thing as, let me just open a new tab. So it's security.microsoft.com/realtime reports v3. So that's actually the URL. I'm dropping that in the chat. I can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Some
Yeah, I
reason
can hear
why
you.
I dropped off the call. Surprise, probably my network. All right, yeah. So the major difference between real-time detection and Threat Explorer. The first is that real-time detection is what comes with a Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1. So organization that cannot afford maybe the Plan 2, right? If you go with plan one, what you're going to have is the real-time detection. But if you have the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2, you're going to have the Threat Explorer, which is also called Explorer, right? So that's the major difference. And the other difference is that for both of them anyway, they both have URL, like the URL for the real-time detection is the same as security.microsoft.com/realtime report VC. But this one is actually the same thing as security.microsoft.com/threat explorer v3, right? So that's the major difference between both the real-time detection. So it's just like a different URL, but if you look at the two interfaces, right, they almost look the same. Both of them almost look the same majorly. Then trying to remember another difference between the two. I think the other difference between the two. Okay, once I remember, I'll just let you know. But it's hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So I was hearing something now. So the differences like I mentioned, right? The Threat Explorer and the real detection. So if I remember, I'll just let you know there's also one more difference between the two, right? So for Threat Explorer, right, it actually contains the same information and capabilities as the real-time detection, but the Threat Explorer has additional features like it has more view than the real-time detection. Then it has more property filtering options, right? Which include option to save queries. You're going to see, you're going to appreciate that option for save query. Then it also has more actions, right? That's one of the other differences that it's available for the both of them. So let's jump into it now. Now, so I mentioned that the Threat Explorer, right? What it does, it helps with real-time reporting for our SecOps team. Now, if you look at this now in the Explorer dashboard, so I'm going to use the Explorer dashboard, right? Since it has more features than real-time detection now. Now, under all emails here, right, it's going to give us different details about the emails that are delivered. So if there is any email that was blocked, right, within this period, you're going to see how many. So this is telling me that this particular day, 5 emails was delivered. So if there was any email that was blocked, this data in this graph is going to be giving something like reddish something.
I can't see your screen. Sorry.
Oh, apologies. Apologies for that. Apologies.
Um,
All right. Okay. Please confirm you can see it now.
yes, I can see now.
All right. Yeah. So majorly, I was explaining that this is a Threat Explorer, why this is a real-time detection. They are almost similar, right? They're almost similar, both of them, almost similar. Only that the Threat Explorer gives us capability to actually have more data, more view, right? Then another capability that the Threat Explorer does is that more property filtering options. That's what it has more than the real time detection, then it has more action than the real time detection. So under the emails, yeah, for Threat Explorer, so it's giving us details about emails that we deliver on certain days, right? So if there's station by some emails you block like this, instead of seeing this particular color, you see something like reddish, deep red, right? This to show that this particular email was blocked. And just like our alert and investigation, right? Just like our incident and alert. So you have the option to filter. You can filter by start date. Let me take this backward again if it's going to allow me. End date today. So I can save that. Just giving me for today. Okay, let me just set a query for that. Then sender's address. I don't really have any sender's address I can select. But majorly what it does is that you can actually create a query, right? This query is something that this other one uses. That's the threat tracker, which you're going to talk about shortly. So you can create a query around the time, right? The sender. So you want to use the sender's address or recipient or sender domain. So you have different things that you can actually select. You can actually create queries for different things majorly. Just like you're selecting a query, so let's say select a sender address. Now see the sender address equals to any of or none of. These are the two options that we have under these options here. It's just like a binary Boolean. Then if you want to maybe put the email address of the sender, I don't have any senders, right? That's off my head currently because I don't have things like a production kind of environment. You put the sender's email here, then if you need to refresh, you refresh here. Then if you need to add additional query and or you have the option to select that and you can save the query. So once the query is saved, you can put the name of the query. Let me see, test query. Let me just put 20 days here. Then select track this query and save, for example. So that particular query has been saved. So let me just focus on this dashboard now. I'll show you where the query that was saved, where it is used, right? So this shows so if you can see so this color tells that these are delivered, right? Yeah, I unchecked it, right? Okay, this was taking time to propagate for me. Let me go back. So this was focused on all the messages that were delivered to my organization, right? So remember, I told you that Threat Explorer is giving me what? A near real-time reporting to, right? So what actually happened or what is happening? Now let me let me remove the one that I deliver by just clicking on it here. So I have two other options or three other options, right? When I click on this, everything that is showing for me is the emails that were delivered, messages that were delivered, right? But the moment I click on this, so I have the ones that were blocked, the ones that were delivered to deleted folder, the one that were delivered to junk. So let me turn that on back. So this one tells me that on this particular date, right, around September 11 by 1 a.m., I have one message that was blocked. Yeah. On this particular day, there were three that were blocked. On this particular day, one was blocked, and the other one was sent to a junk email. Give me 1 second. Sorry. All right. So then on this particular day, I have four that were blocked, right? But most times, once this one is turned on, it actually covers everything. So if I want to, highlight those that were delivered to other folder, for example, now I can turn every other thing off. So this shows me the one that was delivered. So it tells me that on this particular day here, there were three that were delivered to a deleted folder. Three. Then let me turn this on, right? So for this now, you have one email that was delivered to the junk folder. Right. So let me turn them back on again so I can see. So again, what the Threat Explorer is giving me is giving me a near real time. If I go to real time detection too, for near time detection, what can you notice there? The only thing I have is what? Delivered. Are you seeing the difference in the two? The only thing here is delivered. So I don't have the option to see the ones that were blocked, the one that were turned to. I don't have that option. So it's not showing me there. Let me take these back to this day as well. And let's see. Why that is populating, I can go back. So that is what it's doing. So for all emails, so see this actually filters for me by all emails. So if I want to filter by just malware, for example, now emails that contains malware. So all I just need to do is to select the malware option. So for the malware, I currently do not have any data, right? So basically it's going to actually show me. Let me go back to all emails again. So from the histogram chart, I can have a drop down here by maybe I want to see sender's domain. So it's giving me another form of histogram chart, right? So the sender domain for these is telling me these are the sender's domain. I go up, so I have to from Microsoft here, right? So I can do a proper investigation as a SOC engineer, right? So I'm part of the security operations team, right? So I can do a proper investigation. So, okay, what are these telling me? So this has already here. It's telling me that once you see this, this is from invarious-tech.microsoft.com. While this is from Microsoft, maybe I'm interested to just see the ones from Microsoft, right? So I'm able to actually drill down to what I want. Maybe I just want to see for Microsoft only. I'm seeing some other ones. So there are other domains that we're not actually even capture here, right? That are showing here. So let's say I want to see more from Microsoft only. So I'm able to see there are 2 there. It's 1 here. I have 4 from Microsoft and from every other domain as well, right? So I'm able to do like it gives me that real-time information about the thread. Let me go back here. So if you notice again, real-time detection, I'm only able to see what the one that is delivered. Now, so let me turn every other thing back on. Yeah, so the histogram is there for me to select, right? So because I filter by what sender domain, it's giving me a different graph. Now, if I filter by, let's say sender IP, for example, so let's see what the histogram graph is going to look like. So it's giving me a different graph. So I'm seeing IP 0.0.0.0. I'm seeing another IP here. I'm seeing another IP here, right? So I'm able to drill down, based on what I currently have. So for delivering action here, so this is just focused on the one that we deliver for delivering action. So you can always select these full URLs. Is there anyone that has, maybe there's a URL. So that will actually give me data. So any emails I've received that has full URLs is going to tell me different URLs that has been inside those emails. All right. So if you go to, if there are malware as well, you can investigate, okay, I want to focus on malware. What are the malware that my organization has received? So I also have the option to, drill down here as well. So because I don't have any data to show here, so there's no data. Let me check for fish. If I have any email that's marked as fish, or let me go back here to change the time also to this time. This is going to bring up data for me. So I still don't have any data to show here. So if I have campaigns as well, right? The campaigns is going to show me informations, content malware is going to show me information. Then if users in my organization have clicked on any URL at all, it's also going to show me information about that. So the filter by date is actually very important. We notice you can only filter by the last 30 days. So that is actually one important thing. So it's trying to have any URL clicks. So I doubt if I'm going to have that, except maybe other users have provision on this tenant are actually clicking on URLs, but I doubt that. So that's what Threat Explorer is in a nutshell. But let's go back to all emails and see. If you click on chart view here, this is going to give you either a chart view, or if you want a list view, it shows you a list view here, which is actually below. So I'm going to go back to the chart view, right? So now if I come down here, I also have different categories. Up is categorizing by all emails, malware, fish, campaign, content, malware, and all that. Now, if I come down, I'm seeing emails, right? What are the emails that have actually, been sent in the tenant, right? Who is the sender of the email? Who is the recipient? What's the sender's address? What's the sender's domain, right? I'm able to see those information. Yeah. Then if I click on URL clicks, right? I'm going to see, so there's no data still on URL clicks. Then if there are top URLs, right? Maybe there's a particular URL that I'm receiving or users in my organization I'm receiving, right? It's going to give me those details. Okay, these are top URLs. I'm getting a lot of URLs based on message that were delivered to my tenant. I'm getting like 252 URLs for this particular URLs. So that means users in my organizations have received an email with these particular URLs. Then for this, I'm getting 111 for these. Then for these, I'm able to see, okay, these are 28. I'm seeing this to be 11, this also to be 11. Then you come down here. So you're able to actually drill down, okay, what are the top URLs that my users are actually getting? So it helps you to actually, drill down basically. And let's go back. So top clicks. So are there any particular URLs that users in my organization are clicking on, right? So as an admin, as a SOC engineer, I'm able to see, okay, these are top URL that users are clicking in my organization. So for this, it looks good because users in my organizations here are not clicking on any URL, so I don't have any data available. So what are the top targeted users, right? So top targeted user is also another details that I can get, right? 1 second.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Sorry about that. My daughter was crying. Let's get into her. Yeah, so this shows top targeted users. So if there are particular users in my organization that are being targeted, maybe the C-suite users, the chief, the CEO, the CTO, the CFO, or the CIO, this is going to actually show me data for those top targeted users, but I don't have any right now. Then email origins, right? So if I want to see where are the emails coming from, mostly, I'm able to see. So it shows me on the map that I have emails origin from here. So I'll be able to, zoom in and zoom in to see where are the emails coming from. So this is showing me that the emails are coming from Ocean Sea, right? So it's coming from Seattle. So I'm able to see emails origin. Most of the emails I'm getting in the organization, I'll be able to see that, okay, there's an email from here, there's an email from here, there's an email from here on the map. So I'm able to see where those emails are coming from there. Then if there are any campaigns, so this also give me information about different campaigns here. So let me go back. So if I need to also export this chart, right, I have the option to export this chart right here. Majorly have the option to export the chart. Then I have the option to also export this particular data. Maybe I want to submit to my internal audit teams for investigations, right? I can have the option to download that report there. So let me look at an example of an email. Let me see what this email is all about. Please confirm if you can still see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, so I just selected one of the emails, right? So this looks very funny because the subject of the email is this: stupid questions about VoiceRag repository. That's the subject. So from here, I'm able to see that that's the subject of the email, and the recipient, right? It's me. Before clicking on that, so the recipient, it's me. Then the sender's address is this. Then the domain, basically the domain that the email is coming from. Then where the email was delivered to. So it was delivered to an inbox folder, right? Then the original delivery location is still an invoice. Is there any threat here? So it's telling me that there is no threat on this particular email. So let me just open the email. So clicking on the email, so I'm able to see, first of all, are there links or attachments? So it tells me that this particular email has 4 attachments, right? Then it tells me that there are 5 links in this particular email. Then I don't want to take this first. So let me go down a bit before I come back here. So for delivery details, so it tells me that is there any original thread associated with this email? So it's telling me none. Where is the original location? It's located in my inbox folder. In terms of delivering action, this email was actually delivered. Then is there any last thread on the email? No. The latest delivery? No. So if maybe there were actions like maybe the email was actually a spam or phishing email, and any of the anti-spam or the anti-phishing policy acted on the email, we able to see that okay, this email was actually initially delivered here, but after this, or maybe in terms of when it was coming to the inbox, the AI machine learning or the anti-spam sees the spam and then pushes the email to the junk folder. So that delivery details will give me that information about the email. Now, the email details give me additional information, which you're not going to actually dwell in much. It tells me this, the sender display name. I'm able to see it here. The same details, the sender's address, right? So if this email was sent on behalf of a particular user, right? Maybe there's a delegate to this particular user's mailbox, or this user has a delegate access to another user mailbox. Maybe this person is a virtual assistant or the PA to the CEO of the organization, and user is sending this email on behalf of the CEO. Is going to actually show here. Then there's a return part which you're not going to drill in. Then the sender's IP is here, the location, the time, the network messaging ID is also here. Then the internet messaging ID is also here, right? So you're able to see, okay, the recipients, then which is, this part is important, right? So is there DMARC of the email? There is no DMARC. Is there DKIM? So DMARC and DKIM is something we're going to actually look at as part of our email security. DKIM is passed, then it's passed, then SPF is also passed. Then we're able to see that the email was delivered. Then under URL, we're able to see, okay, these are, because already it was already mentioned that there are 5 links here, right? So I can click on view all URL. So I'm able to see, okay, these are all the URLs, which is the websites, right? The GitHub repository, then the Facebook page, I believe, then the Twitter page and the LinkedIn page of the organizations. So most likely all these things are part of the signature of the user that's actually sent the email. Then under attachment, right? So it also mentioned that there are 4 attachments. So if I click on view all, I'm able to see all the attachments. So these are most likely part of the email signature, right? So this will give me basically the details. So without even opening the email, I'm able to get information about the email as a SOC engineer, even though the email was not, delivered to me. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's any emails that is actually marked as phishing or something. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead to still use that particular one as the So there's nothing marked as phishing or spam here. I don't know why this water is slow. Is my network is slow? So let me go back and open the question and open the email using the subject again. Now I have the option to open the email entity here. So this is basically going to open a new tab for us, in which is going to take us to for us to understand more things about the email. Even the same thing that we've actually seen before. So it still tells us more details, like things around them. So these details are actually the detection details. So original threads. So the same thing we've actually seen all these ones before. And I think we've seen all this one before, except this cluster ID. So we get detection detail here, then also get email detail for that email. Then if you come to the right side of it, so you see the timeline talking about when the email was sent or when it was delivered, right? So I'm able to see that the email was received by this date and the time that the email was received was that. Then the result, there was an inbox folder in which the email was delivered to. So you see the time, this time I give you just the timeline details about the email. Then in terms of analysis, right? So the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 also go ahead to analyze the email, right? So in terms of analysis, right, you're able to see this is the message header of the email. Is a message header of the email. I'm going to show you one so that we used to analyze message header. So so under analysis again. So for is there any threat detected? So there's no information that is threat detection. Then email detection details. So for email detection details, so you have if there are connectors, right? If there are policies that are acted on that email, if there's a bulk compliance level, BCL, if there's any policy actions, you'll be able to see those details about the email in terms of detection. So this is able to see none. That's why it says the source for primary override, there's none here, and there's no information about if there was a transport through that acted on this email, right? Then if you come down, it tells us the size of the email itself. Then if there's any data loss prevention rule on the email, so we're going to look at DLP on our discussion when we discuss compliance, right? So other details around the sender's recipient details. So this tells me the sender display name, which I've seen the other time, the sender's email address, their domain, their IP. So if you come down, then it tells me, okay, where was the original location? So the email was actually sent to this particular email address, right? Then if there is, in terms of authentication, right? Is there any domain-based message authentication happen? There is none. Was there any DKIM? Yeah, there was DKIM. DKIM was passed. Was there SPF? SPF also was passed. Then the same details about the attachments and URL are here also. That's under analysis. Under attachments, so this is expected to show us all the attachments. So from here, even as an admin, you can see more details about the emails attachment, right? So if there's any deep analysis that was carried out on those the attachments in terms of these are majorly emails. So it's going to give me additional information. Then it's going to give me information about the file itself that was attached, the file name, and also the SH 256 of the file, then as well as the size of the file. So that's what the attachment does for us. Then for URL, the same URLs that we've seen earlier. So it's going to show us the URL details. Where was the source of the URL? So it tells me that the source, the URL is part of the body of the email. So which most likely is going to be the signature. Then are there similar emails too from those particular users? So the only similar email is still that particular email that it's actually brought. I'm waiting for this to load. This actually load earlier. Let me refresh. So there's a tool by Microsoft called the Message Header Analyzer. Now, with the help of this Message Header Analyzer, you are able to, analyze what has happened in the email. So let me, this actually brought out the analysis. rather than message and the intel. Okay, so I'll copy this. So this, what you're seeing down here is actually the message of the email sent, right? So I can copy this message, then open this two. So this two is actually testconnectivity.microsoft.com. If I click on it, it's going to open a new tab for me. So this URL is actually where is actually a Microsoft tool for analyzing an email. So in case there's a problem with an email, be able to use this to analyze the email. So I think that then copy. So it's copied now. So let me go there and paste it. So I just want to show you this tool, but it's not just for you to know that there is a tool. So you can also use this tool to analyze who is the sender of the email, who is the recipient of the email, right? So it gives you more additional details, right, about the email. So these are deep stuff that are part of Exchange analysis. There's an email, there's a problem with an Exchange mail flow or something now. So we use all this to basically analyze, right? So let me go back to the Explorer again. You have any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me go back to the email. Let me just pick another email. So we look at this, then this view header. So this view header is actually the same thing as that header that we copy the other time. It's actually the header of the message. So if you want to analyze this email, the header of the email, use the same to this Microsoft Message Header Analyzer to analyze this header. From there, be able to get information about what happened to the email. Maybe a user complained that I was expecting an email, the email was not delivered, and the sender said that I delivered the email. You know, after running your message trees and the email got delivered, right? Probably the email didn't get delivered. Then the sender received an NDR. Now with that NDR that the sender received, you can request for them to just save the message, you know, and copy it and send it through maybe through a different means. Get the NDR. From the NDR, we'll be able to analyze what happened to the email. So that's what the view message header would do for us. Yeah. Then if there's a need for us to take action on this email, right? It's just for us to click on take action. Now this take action is going to open this pane for us. Now what this pane is going to do for us is that we have the option to choose the response actions. Now we have show all response actions here, which enables to access all actions regardless of the current location of the emails, right? So they're already shown here. So if there's any other action that is not shown there, this is going to actually show it. Now, what do you want to do to this email? So as an admin, even though you don't have access to the user's mailbox and this message was marked as quarantine, you can actually move or delete it. If you select this, move or delete, right? So you have the option to select what do you want to happen to this message. Okay, I want the message to move to the junk folder, right? This inbox is greater because the message is currently in the inbox folder, right? Then I want it to be the message or the emails to go to deleted items, right? So it will go to the deleted item folder that was actually, you know, created for the user. But I want soft delete. Soft delete means it will go to another folder called recoverable deleted items. Then add delete the items that go forever. Nobody can retrieve it. Even Microsoft cannot retrieve the add delete. That means you're deleting it permanently. So these are some of the options, right? Responses that you can select based on after you investigated the email that, oh, this email, like there was a phishing campaign to our organization yesterday that emails were spam emails sent to some users, right? So we had to block. I'll show you that. I'll show you that when we discuss spam filtering. We had to block those senders. Then we also had to do what we call content search. So from the content search, we deleted the emails from all the users that have actually received the email. So that's the move or delete option. Now, if we select this option, submit to Microsoft for preview. Now, if you notice, the first two are grayed out, while the last two options are not. Now, the first option that says I've confirmed it is clean. So there is no need for it to submit to Microsoft when you already confirmed that the message is clean. Or it appears clean. So you are still stipulating that, okay, you're feeling the message is clean. So that's why those two are grayed out. Now, if it appears suspicious, right, you have the option to select that. And if you've confirmed that this is a threat, so you just want Microsoft system to, to add it to their information. So this is actually a radio, but you cannot select two options at the same time. You can only select one. So you say you confirm it is threat. What kind of threat? Is it a spam? Right? Is it spam? What is a spam there? So this gives you entity based on that email. Is it you think the email attachments are spam? Or you think the URLs are spam? You select everything that you feel is spam, right? Based on that email. Then do you think it's phishing, right? Select what you think is phishing among either it could be the sender's address, the sender's domain, right? Or any of those things. Or you feel it's a malware. What is a malware? Is it the URL that is a malware? Is it the attachment that's a malware? Or what is exactly the malware? So that's what you have the option to select that because you're submitting it to Microsoft and you've confirmed it's a threat. But if it's as very suspicious, you're not sure what it is, right? This doesn't bring those options for you. You just select that and you click on next. Then you want to initiate automated investigation. So you want to actually identify related threats. So if truly this is a threat, right? You want to initiate a for this particular emails, right? So you can select anyone. You want the email, you want to investigate the email, or you want to investigate the recipient, you want to investigate the sender, or you want to contact the recipient too. So that option is also available for you. Then if you want to propose remediation, so just ask an administrator to approve a soft delete action. So that's you proposing. So once you are done, you click on next for that. So let me say, I don't want to delete this email, but let me just go next. So the next is you want to choose the targeted entity, right? Based on what you select, that's what it's actually going to show here. Because what I select is deleted messages, then I said next. So this will show, okay, what is the targeted entity? Just put the name of the entity here. Then so it's telling me what are the actions. I'm moving to delete item. I select. I don't want to make somebody's email to spam, right? Then if I want to even add it to a block rule, I have the option to add it down here to a block rule. Maybe I created anti-spam policy to block particular users, particular domains, right? This is also very much available as part of the capability when you talk about the solution, which is the Threat Explorer, basically. So once you're done, just click on next, then click on next. So you have to put the name here. I don't want to actually save anything here. So click on next, right? Once you submit, this will go to Microsoft straight. So I don't want to do that. So let's just go back. So that's one thing about the Threat Explorer that we those are the capabilities of the Threat Explorer majorly that we have for Threat Explorer. So something you can play with, you can check your tenants, we have some emails, right, that you can review. So I mentioned exports. They want to customize your colon also. Maybe there are some colons that are important to you. You want to see the recipient domains, you want to see the sender's IP, you can just select it, then apply. And that will also show for you. Be able to see the sender's IP showing here. Maybe the IP is important to you. Maybe you need your network team to work on it. Investigate. Any questions on Explorer before I move to the next? Any question? Talking on mute because you're talking up there.
Sorry, it was my daughter that was disturbing.
No problem. Understand. We're in the same
Um,
shoe today.
sorry. So I'm going to play around it and see if I have any question now. Let
Okay.
you know.
All right. All right. Awesome.
There was a function I saw about it that I would still check later. I've not practice it in the lab. Zap zero purge.
Okay, 0 day auto purge. Yeah.
Yes, auto purge.
All right. Okay. Just play around it and see.
Yes, I will.
Okay. All right. I was looking for this anyway. So let's go to review. Now, the review part of emails and collaboration, as the name implies, is actually where you can actually check things. You check things, right? So as threats are detected and remediation action come into play. So depending on the particular threat and how your security settings are configured. So security settings is a big thing that we're going to look at under policies and rules, right? So remediation actions might be taken automatically or only upon approval. Like examples of remediation actions like include stopping a process from running or removing a schedule task, basically. So for our review now, you can see we have 4 cards here. We have the action card, we have the quarantine card, we have the restricted entities, as well as the malware trend. Now, if you go to this action card here, it says track phishing and malware campaigns, aim at your users and take appropriate action. Now, this place will look familiar for you when I click on this. So if you click on action here, it's going to actually take us to the action center, which is something that we've actually looked at earlier. So by the time we got there, so you can, if you remember this place, so this is actually under submission and actions and submission, if you remember, right? So you go down here, you see the action center here. So it is actually, they are both linked together, both the under review, the review here, the action center is actually to take you back to that particular portal, which is history. So here we're able to see the history of all the actions that has happened in terms of automated remediation, right? So, and we know again, Defender for Office 365 includes several remediation actions, and these actions can include manual response action or actions following automated investigation and a live response action. So we've already looked at this action center. So I will not actually dwell much here again, since it's something that we look at already before now. So let's go back to the portal again. Emails and collaboration, then review. So the next card to review here is quarantine. So the quarantine card reviews, basically like the name implies, it reviews quarantine messages and decide whether you want to release them to one or more of the intended recipients. Receive which time? So this says in the last 30 days. So between October 9 and November 9, let me take this to October 9. Let me apply this. Maybe I'm going to see more information. Otherwise, we work with all we have. So I don't have data between those periods. So let me cancel. So if there are quarantine messages in the last 30 days, right? You're going to actually see them under the quarantine. I think the mail, okay, what I did. Let me take it back to October 9 and November 9. Apply. Correct. So between October So there's a mail for October 2nd. Now you see those emails that are quarantine, basically the date and time, the subject of the email, the sender, the reason why it was quarantine, is it phishing or high confidence fish? The release status, it needs to be reviewed. What was the policy that actually acted on this email for this email to be quarantined? So it tells me the name of the policy, anti-spam policies, right? When does this expire? So this expires by November 4th. This expires by October 19th. Then the recipient, right? So for each of those email now, if I select one here, I'm going to see that if you notice, this was grayed out, release, deny, delete message, preview message was actually grayed out, as well as every other thing here. They are all grayed out. The only thing is enable is a filter. Maybe you want to filter by the date, the time, then you want to customize the colon, right? So customize the colon means you want to add or remove the colon. So let me select one here. On selecting, I have the option to release the message. So I want to release it to all recipients. So let's say this email was sent to a group of users, about 5 to 10 or more than that, right? So if I want to release this message to all the recipients, I will select that option, then I'll click on release. This message will be released to them. Then if I want to release to one or more of the original recipients, right? So I have the option to put in their emails of those people that I would like to review this release the message. So I just put in the emails of those original recipients there, but this is the only recipient here. That's why it's bringing this for me. Then if I want to send a copy of this message to other recipients, right? I can check this option. So a copy, I can put in the recipient of this email, other people in the organization. So I'll be able to see, to send the copy of the message to them. But so send a copy. Then if I want to submit the message to Microsoft to improve detection, maybe to check maybe it's a false positive message, right? Like I have the option and I can select, okay, allow this message, remove allow entry after the number of days. So I can even select a specific date for that. Then there's notes, which is actually optional. I can also, put that there. So that is what the release option are the things that are available for in terms of capability. Then I can say that, okay, I want to delete this message, right? So this message is see this message, we will temporarily delete this message from quarantine. If I don't check this option, that means it's going to be a soft delete. That means the message will go to the recoverable deleted folder for the user. But if I want to do a permanent delete, which is the add delete, I'll just select this option, then I delete. This message will be gone. Nobody will be able to access this message, right? If I want to preview the email that was sent, so I have the option to preview the email. So it's that's open the email for me. So this is actually how the email looks like in terms of source. If I want to check it in plain text, I have the option to also see the same email in plain text. If I need to analyze, I can do that there. Then if I click on the more here, so I can view the message header. If you remember earlier, we talked about the message analyzer, right? So I can just copy this email here, put it in the message header analyzer, and also analyze the message to be sure that the message is safe. Still under the more, I can submit this to Microsoft for review. So if I need to submit, so what we actually looked at earlier, I can submit for Microsoft. They will analyze the message. So why are you submitting the message? I've confirmed it's clean, it appears clean. So you can select the option. Then if there's any image, the email file. So after you save the email, you can now upload that's there, or you can decide to use the network message ID, which you can easily get as well. Then still under the more, so you can decide to say, okay, this user, even though this message was marked as spam, but I know the user. This user is a partner organization. Why is the system, quarantine the
Sorry,
users
please, can I
message?
quickly, sorry, please, where did you see the message header analyzer?
Okay, if you
Email
click on
header
this more,
analyzer.
if you click on So select the message first. So there are several ways anyway. Then select more, click on view message header. Yeah.
Okay.
So this URL, Microsoft Message Header Analyzer, once you click on it, it will open the message header analyzer for you.
Okay.
Right. So this is how it looks. Yeah. So just copy the header here. Copy from. Can just click on copy message. Just copy. Then just paste it here. Once it's pasted here, click on analyze header. This will analyze the message for you. So you're able to see the sender, you're able to see the recipients, you see several things around the message, basically.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the next thing is so let's say this user is a legitimate user, is a partner, is a partner from a different organization, but you don't know why Exchange Online Protection has marked the user's message as being spam, right? So you have the option to select allow sender. So this allow sender basically is going to open up the allow sender policy, right? It's going to actually save it's going to save the sender to the recipient sales sender list. So if I go to my exchange online, my exchange email online, right? I'm going to see that this user has been added to my allow sender. I need to go and remove it. So the same thing goes for block sender. So if I want to block this particular sender, for example, from sending email, what I just need to do, block sender. So it does the reverse. That means no matter the number of messages that the user sent to me, I will not receive it. So if I want to share email, I have the option to share email, right, to other user in the organization. So I can send email. Maybe I have another admin. I want the admin to help me to analyze the email. I can share the email with the admin here. Then lastly, I can download messages. So I have to provide a justification why I might download this file. I need to create a password and confirm the password that I will use to open the message. So that's about quarantine. The next one, which is also a powerful feature, we'll call it restricted entities, right? For restricted entities, the fastest way to explain this or the best way to make it clear is that sometimes when a user in your organization account has been compromised, maybe bad actor, they were able to successfully hack the user account, right? Now they're not using the user account to send out spam emails. Remember, it is your organization's domain they are sending from. That means that your organization's reputation will be affected. So what Microsoft does is that once a user has been compromised like that, and the AI machine learning behind the Microsoft Defender portal is seeing that this user is sending too much, looking at the anomaly detection, this is not the normal behavior of this user. Something is wrong. What Microsoft will do is that the user will be blocked from sending email outside the organization. They'll be able to send email outside the organization to other users to prevent your organization's reputation, right? So once there is such a user that has been compromised, that bad actors is using the particular user's email, to send out spam. What Microsoft will do is that Microsoft is going to block the user. And once the user is blocked, the user will be listed here as a restricted entity. So, but for now, I don't have any user currently listed. I'll have shown you other things. So there are steps that I need to go through before unblocking. Yes, as an admin, once you see the user, you definitely see the option to unblock the user here in this particular portal. But before unblocking, there are a series of steps you need to do as an admin. The first is to actually, reset the user's password. Once user password has been reset, maybe you want to reinforce or enable or multi-factor authentication for the user. If that was not enabled before, then you have to be sure so with those things and some other things that you do, then once those things are taken care of, resetting the password, doing the MFA. 1 second, let me check. There's one article that Microsoft has responding to compromised accounts. Responding to compromised accounts. So Microsoft actually gives some steps that admin can actually use to respond to a compromised email account, right? So it tells you what are the symptoms of email accounts. So it gives you some symptoms. Yeah, so bad actors can create suspicious inbox, right? And the user display name is changed the global address. So you see those symptoms. So how do you restore it? So I'll show you this documentation. The first is to reset the user password, right? Then remove suspected email from forwarding email address. So they will configure an email forwarding also. As of the bad actor, to check the email forwarding, remove any forwarding address. Then if there is any suspicion inbox route that have been created for the user, you go to the user's inbox route to delete them. Then you then unblock the users from sending email by going into the restricted entity page. If I click on this here, it's going to bring me to this restricted entity page here, basically. So when that is done, they say optional, which is block user account from signing in. So sometimes maybe the first thing you want to actually do is to actually block the user account from signing in until you're sure that the user has been you've actually remediate the stuff. So this shows you additional details on what happens once you get to that page. If you want to unblock the user, all right. So you also see the users listed, start of the user. So you see the unblock user, the flyout opens. I wish I had one user to test with. Then you have the option, it will now tell you some recommendations. Ensure that you have multi-factor authentication, then ensure that you've set user password, enable. So tells you then once that is done, you now click on the unblock user. So once you unblock the user, it takes an hour, right? It takes an hour. So you just tell the user that okay, next 1 hour you put to send an email, right? So it's actually an hour, but they're just saying that but start wait time should not be longer than 24 hours. So then the user will then be able to send an email. This can be done from the Exchange Admin Center, and it can also be done using a PowerShell as well. So that is restricted entity. So sometimes when you have users in your organization complaining that I can't send an email as an admin of the organization, one of the first things to check is the restricted entity to be sure that the user has not been marked as spam user and has been blocked. And if you check your top sender report, you'll be checking the reporting, you'll be looking at reporting part later too. Top senders, the user would definitely be listed as top sender because those bad actors are using the user's account that has been compromised to send out emails, spam, phishing email, unsolicited emails to users. It could be your customers, it could also be your partners as well. Then malware trends. So if there's any malware detected, right? This malware trend is going to actually give us those details. At the moment, we don't have any malware detected on this tenant, but once you have it, you see that once you click on that, it's going to give you details about the threat from malware, basically. All right, any questions so far?
None.
All right. Okay, so let's go to campaigns. Campaigns. What is campaign, right? So for campaign, in Microsoft 365 organization, with like I said, most of some of these features are you have to have Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2, right? So the campaign features, what it does is that it identifies and categorize coordinated phishing and malware email attacks. Again, the campaign feature, what it does is that it identifies and categorizes coordinated phishing and malware email attacks. And Microsoft categorization of email attacks into discrete campaigns. It helps you to efficiently investigate and respond to email attack. Then it also helps you to better understand the scope of the email attack that is targeting your organization. Then the third thing the categorization does is that it shows the value of Microsoft Defender for Office 365 to decision makers in preventing email threats. So this, if there's any threat at all, these campaigns will have been able to show a lot of information around the threat, just like the way we had for our the Instagram chat for the other one, which is the Threat Explorer, right? So the campaign basically, works similar in that way, only that it helps you to categorize things. So you're able to see things the way they are, basically. So the campaign features let you to see the overall picture of an email attack faster and more completely than an human. So because it's dealing with an AI on the back end, it's able to see things faster. And as a campaign being a coordinated email attack against one or many organizations, email attack can actually steal credentials and company data that are large and lucrative industry. So as technologies increases, right, to stop attackers actually they tend to modify their method to ensure that there is actually a successful success. So they have a continuous success when they attacking any organization. So with Microsoft, which applies a vast amount of anti-phishing, anti-spam, and even anti-malware data from the entire service to identify campaigns. So Microsoft tends to analyze and classify those accounts information into several categories. So there are a lot of different categories. If you check here now, you see a lot of different categories that Microsoft uses. They can use the attack source, like the source IP addresses and the sender's email domain. It's also what they can use. So different things actually what is actually available. They can use the message properties in terms of the content of the message, the style of the message, even the tone of the message can also be used in terms of attack. Then also the message recipient now. How are the recipients related? For example, maybe the recipient domain, the recipient job function, is the recipient an admin user or part of the executive team, it also uses things around company type, right? Is it a large company? Is it a small company? Is it a public company, right? Is it a private company? And also industry. Are they banks? Are they in financial services? Are they in fintech, right? Then it uses what we call the attack payload as well. So either using a malicious links or using a malicious attachments or other payloads in terms of messages. So most times the campaign generally, if you check here now, the campaign generally can actually maybe short-lived and could span either several days or weeks or months with an active or inactive period. So it's very important that a campaign might actually be launched against the organization specifically, or organization might be part of a larger campaign across multiple companies. So again, for this campaign feature, right, it's very important that you have the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2 or an add-on that has been added, which is actually part of the Microsoft 365 E5, right? Then in terms of permission, you need to be assigned maybe a security permissions like a security administrator, security reader, or a global administrator, or even an organization management. So I wish you have some campaign to actually display here to be able to see different campaigns that are actually, available. So details in terms of the name, you'll see the name, you'll see the sample subject, which is actually the subject line of one of the message in the campaign. And all the message in the campaign don't necessarily actually have to have the same subject line. Then you see the targeted. So like the percentage as calculated by the number of campaigns, recipients in your organization. Then the types of campaign, the type will either be a fish or a malware. Then subtype, under subtype, you can have the same thing, either a fish where it's available, the brand is being fished by campaign, for example, Microsoft 365, Unknown, Outlook, DocuSign, you'll be able to see that. Then for malware, you'll be able to see the malware family, for example. Then for tags like can get additional information about tags. You want to tag that particular campaign, then inbox, the number of users that receive the message from this campaign in their inbox, which are not delivered into their junk folder. Then under the clicks, for the clicks, you see the number of users that selected the URL or opened the attachment of the phishing email. Then the click rates, for click rates, you're able to see um, the percentage that is calculated by the number of clicks divided by the number of inbox. This value is actually an indicator of how effective the campaign is. In other words, where the recipients are able to identify the messages as phishing, they are able to avoid the payload URLs. So basically, we don't use click rates in a malware campaign anyway. Then the last one in terms of the column talks about visited. How many users actually made it through to the payload website if they click on the value, but the save link block access to the website. And so those are the things around the campaign generally. Do you have question on the campaign?
No question.
All right.
I wish there was. I wish we had little sample to. But no
Yeah.
problem. We'll definitely still.
Yeah.
See something. Like I can try to simulate something later, maybe after my exam, maybe by next week.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Let's look at the last one for today. They will know that we have just 3 more under this investor collaboration. Let's look at the threat tracker. Now, do you remember this? We created this from our Threat Explorer.
Yes.
So when an organization has a SIEM subscriptions, which is a Microsoft Defender for Vista Plan 2, right? Or it's part of subscription that is purchased as the Microsoft 365 E5, or you have the add-on, right? So what happens is that we have threat trackers. What are threat trackers? They are basically queries that you create and save in Threat Explorer. That's what threat trackers are. So any query that you save, you have created here. So no matter the number of queries, right? The moment you create any of this query, maybe let me just put a query exchange transport contain any of these. So I don't really have anything to say. Let me just save this query. So let me save this query, call it test2. Test2, let me just put any date, random date. Track this query, save. Successfully. If I go to threat tracker here, so it might take some time. So I already have it here. So any threat tracker is again, there are queries that you actually create and save in your threat tracker, and you can use these queries to automatically or manually discover cybersecurity threats in your organization. So maybe there are some specific things you actually want to monitor as a SOC engineer. You want to monitor certain things. You can create them in your Threat Explorer here. Maybe you want to focus on impersonated domains, or you want to focus on data loss prevention rule, right? Anything at all you create, and you have your, so this is actually a Boolean. Is that yes or positive? So any of these or none of these, right? So you put them, maybe there are particular users that you want to, check. You put them there and you save. Once you save this query, those queries will automatically be added to your threat trackers, and you can automatically or manually discover such threat in your organization, being a cybersecurity analyst or a SOC engineer for your organization. And again, the same rule is applicable to be able to. So once you have the global administrator or security administrator, or you have the organization management role, that's those that can actually create, save, and modify Threat Explorer. Then people that can only have read access, only a security reader or a global reader, Then from the Microsoft Entra permission side of things, you can have either the global administrator or security administrator, right? To be able to create, save, and modify it. So any of those things that you are creating, like I mentioned, is called Save Query, and Save Queries are coming from your Threat Explorer. So Save Queries contains all queries that you have saved in your Threat Explorer, basically. Now, what are tracked queries now? For track queries now, they contain the results of the query that you have saved in your Thread Explorer when you selected track query. Now, remember when I add my Thread Explorer and I create a particular query, yeah, let me just select a random query, policy types, save, save. Now, if you notice, I selected this, track this query. If I don't track this query, right, the query will not be, because a track query contains the results. What are the results of the query that I've saved in my Thread Explorer, and I select the track this query, right? So this query automatically runs periodically, and all the results are shown in that particular tab. So once I select this option to track this query, for example, now, if I come to my Threads tracker here and click on track queries, so those save queries contains all of them that I've created in Thread Explorer, while the track queries contain only the ones I've created and I've marked track this query. That's the difference between the two. I hope that's clear. Then the trending campaigns here. The trending campaigns, are things that Microsoft populates, to highlight if there are new threats received in your organization. So if there are new threats that your organization receive, Microsoft will actually populate this based on either malware, Microsoft will populate this for you. So this one, yeah, it has nothing to do with you. But for your safe queries is coming from your Thread Explorer, while the track query is also coming from the Thread Explorer, only that those are the query that you have marked to track. So you can create as many queries in your Thread Explorer and save them, but not mark them as to be tracked. Those such query will not actually show on the track query. Yeah, I hope that's clear.
Yes, very clear.
All right. So the exchange messages. Now, before, the Exchange Admin Center used to be where we have the Exchange messages. But the moment this Defender portal was introduced, Microsoft moved the Exchange message trace to the Defender portal. But again, they've actually returned it back to where it belongs, because how can you have a feature for Exchange? Because we're talking about emails and collaboration. So the felt Exchange message trace should be part of what we are tracking. Now, what does Exchange message trace does? You want to trace a message, like I mentioned, the user complained that, oh, I'm expecting an email from this particular user in organization C. But user said I've sent the email, but I'm not seeing the email. The email has not been delivered to me. So as administrator, you have this feature or this capability to actually trace what happened to the message. Just clicking on start the trace here. So this is an exchange class, so I'll just put in the sender. So you ask for the sender address, put in the recipient, the person that is supposed to receive the email, then you can drag this slider to 10 days. Once it drag to 10 days, you have these three options here. The types of reports, you have the summary reports. So summary reports only works between a 0 hour to 10 days. The moment you drag it beyond 10 days, you cannot get a summary report. It will be grayed out for you, while you have just enhanced summary reports and also the extended reports. So extended report is one that gets more information or the most information out of the message. But what is important is that you must put the senders and the recipients, right? So that you are able to, limit to the number of users that you want to get. So let's say the message the user was expecting is just yesterday. So you can just drag this to 2 days, or you drag it to 7 days maximum. Then you'll be able to do a search. Once you do your search, the search will bring the results of the last 7 days messages that we have received. Then you'll be able to see the senders, you will see the recipients. And the reason was because if there's a message that were delivered, they were not delivered, as a security engineer, you'll be able to see that. So that feature, when you click on it, it's actually take you to the Exchange Admin Center to be able to perform the Exchange message trace. Do you have any question before we call it a day for today? Okay, so on this class, we'll be looking at policies and rules, and we'll close the class with attack simulator to complete all our learning on Defender for Office 365. Then from there, we'll move ahead. So let me stop the recording here.